Good evening, everyone. It's about going on 5 o'clock here on Saturday, the 20th of December. We've been reading through Genesis. Today we're going to read through the chapter 45. This is where Joseph finally reveals himself unto his brothers. I'll turn this over to Mark, and then I might make some comments about it after he's finished with this reading.
Genesis chapter 45. Joseph could not refrain himself before all them that stood by him, and he cried, "Cause every man to go out from me," and there stood no man with him. While Joseph made himself known unto his brethren, he wept aloud, and the Egyptians in the house of Joseph heard. And Joseph said unto his brethren, "I am Joseph, doth my father yet live?" And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence. Joseph said unto his brethren, "Come near to me, I pray you." And they came near, and he said, "I am Joseph your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. Therefore be not ye grieved, nor angry with yourselves that ye sold me hither, for God did send me before you to preserve life. These 2 years hath the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years, in the which there shall neither be earing nor harvest. And God sent me before you to preserve you a posterity in the earth, to save your lives by great deliverance. So now it was not you that sent me hither, but God. He hath made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all his house, and ruler throughout all the land of Egypt. Haste ye, and go up to my father, and say unto him, Thus saith thy son Joseph, God made me lord of all Egypt. Come down unto me, tarry not, and thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen, and thou shalt be near unto me, thou, and thy children, and thy children's children, and thy flocks, and thy herds, and all that thou hast. And there will I nourish thee, for yet there are 5 years of famine, lest thou and thy household now thou hast come to poverty, and behold, your eyes see, and the eyes, my brother Benjamin, that is my mouth that speaketh unto you, and ye shall tell my father of all my glory in Egypt, and of all that ye have seen, and ye shall haste to bring down my father hither." Fell upon his brother's Benjamin's neck, and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. Moreover, he kissed all his brethren, and went upon them, and after his brethren talked with him. And the fame thereof was heard in Pharaoh's house, saying, Joseph's brethren are come, and it pleaseth Pharaoh well, and his servants. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, Say unto thy brethren, This ye do, lade your beast, and go get you into the land of Canaan. Take your father and your households, and come unto me, and I will give you the good of the land of Egypt, and you shall eat the fat of the land. Now thou art commanded this do ye, take your wagons out of all the land of Egypt for your little ones, and for your wives, and bring your father, and come. Also regard not your stuff, for the good of all the land of Egypt is yours. The children of Israel did so, and Joseph gave them wagons according to the commandment of Pharaoh's, and gave them provision for the way. To all of them he gave each man change of raiment. But to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver, and 5 chains of raiment. His father he sent after this manner 10 asses laden with the good things of Egypt, and 10 she-asses laden with corn, bread, and meat for his father by the way. So he sent his brethren away. They departed, and he said unto them, See that ye fall not out of the way. And they went up out of Egypt, and came into the land of Canaan unto Jacob their father, and told him, saying, Joseph is yet alive, and he is governor of all the land of Egypt. And Joseph's heart fainted, for he believed them not. And they told him all the words of Joseph, which he had said unto them. And when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob their father revived. Israel said, It is enough. Joseph my son is yet alive. I will go and see him before I die.
Well, we've been on a theme for several weeks, and that theme is the sovereignty of God in all things, and this certainly reinforces that theme, does it not? The entire life of Joseph is a proclamation of God's sovereignty. Here Joseph was favored by God. Jacob had given him a coat of many colors. He was the favorite son, but yet we know what happened to Joseph. He was thrown in a pit, and their brothers eventually sold him into Egypt. And here we have come full circle. Joseph now is revealing himself to his brothers who come to him for food. No wonder his brothers were troubled at his presence. They knew he was right next to Pharaoh, and he could have had him killed. And he said, "I'm Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt." But then he said, "Don't be grieved, nor anger yourselves, that you sold me hither. God did send me before you. God did send me before you to preserve life." If that isn't predestination, I don't know what it is. The reason that God put Joseph through all this was to preserve life. And he said, "God sent me before you to preserve you a posterity in the earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance. He hath made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Egypt." Who made him a ruler? God made him a ruler. And he said, "Haste and go to my father and say to him, the son Joseph, God hath been made Lord of all Egypt." It must have been a shock to Joseph, who thought he was dead. They lied to him, didn't they? And anyway, of course, he fell upon his brother's neck, Benjamin, and wept and kissed all his brethren. And so Pharaoh told him to go into the land of Canaan and take your father and your household and come unto me, and I will give you the good of the land of Egypt. And so Joseph gave them wagons according to the commandments of Pharaoh and gave them provision for the way. You know, God certainly took care of them, didn't he? So he sent his brethren away, and they departed. And they went out of Egypt and came to the land of Canaan unto Jacob, and told Jacob all of these things. He couldn't believe it, could he? But when he saw everything that Joseph had sent, the wagons and everything, he realized they were telling him the truth. And so he went down into Egypt to see Joseph. What a story it is. Proclamation of God's providential hand over Jacob's children through Joseph's being placed right next to Pharaoh, and through all the events in Joseph's life. May you have a good evening and a good weekend. God bless.